Moana greetings, no mai harumai to the whākū, the podcast that is an invitation for a conversation for people from all walks of life about access to equity within the context of Aotearoa. We invite people like yourself and our guests to share their lived experience in an effort to find and identify common threads within support systems, social networks, and knowledge that uplifts the collective human experience. Kels.
In Season 2, we are exploring what does equity and knowledge look like for various communities coexisting within one society.
Hey.
As tauiwi in Aotearoa, we recognise the mana whenua and kaitiaki of these lands. Maluseu and I have experienced most of our growth in the Waikato and want to honour Ngāti Haua, Ngāti Mahana and Ngāti Wairere.
Hey.
We are grateful for the connections our whakapapa weaves through for us to be able to connect and grow with community through the whākū kaupapa. Maluseu and I would also like to honour our queer ancestors who fought for our rights and visibility as equitable citizens of the world. Kia ora, I am Kelsy and I use they, them pronouns.
Noia atoasa Maluseu, and people use he, him pronouns for me. And today we're jumping straight into Aroha. Are we trusting in Aroha to guide us?
Yes.
Thank you for your wisdom and your gifts. It's potency. All right. Number 35 is what we have today. Moia te wahine o te pā hara keke. Marry the woman of the flax cultivation. Be a woman who thinks about her legacy. Moia te wahine o te pā harakiki. Marry the woman of the flax cultivation. Be a woman who thinks about her legacy.
So on for what we're going to talk about. Again. Yeah, okay. I'm so stoked that came out. Because that's what this episode is about. It's about honouring and remembering our legacy. And the people that gifted themselves to that legacy. Yeah, for sure. Very affirming for me. What about for you? What did that bring up for you?
I don't know. I feel like it brings in connotations of what, like, I'm interested to see what Mary is, and there's a conversation that I have with Mary, and then also a woman who cultivates a legacy or cultivates the flax. Let me see what the word actually said. Actually, marry the woman of the flax cultivation, and I'm like, could the hidden or could the second meaning of that be actually around marry someone who weaves in a legacy of the future, something like that? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm reading in between the lines there.
And maybe not marry in like
a traditional,
and like a church, let's get married. But marry maybe in like
connect with everybody who is about
connect
and
with
I feel
community.
Like that and I feel like that could be a non-negotiable for me. Do you know what I mean? Or like I feel like I could actually be like, hey, if you're not about weaving together legacy, I'm not really. That's like a non-negotiable, which I'm considering that it could be a non-negotiable. It's not landed yet, but I'm like, I feel like that could actually be a non-negotiable of being like, this is not something I'm going to dance with.
I think if we were to put it in the context of the whākū kaupapa, that is essentially what we're doing, right?
Hey.
We're bringing people together from different spaces and places and experiences and upbringings and inviting people into a space to make connection and then putting that into the world to offer more connection.
For real.
Really interesting. And like what they cultivate out of that is up to them.
Delicious. Well, planting seeds, spreading seeds actually.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's relevant that we're talking about our peoples.
It's so relevant. So relevant. Yeah. So, in saying that, we just really, really want to honour the legacy that season 1 gifted us, and from all the people that came through and gifted their stories and their experiences in season 1, because without all of these people there would not have been a season 1. Whākī would not exist. There would be no season 1 to be a season 2. So we just want to speak life into each of these people. So we started off season 1 with Kate Hānara.
Yes, love you. And we then jumped into our youngest chief, Rosalie Norton.
Horo Mona Horo.
Juliana Brown, thank you.
Jordan Tuitama.
Gemma Major or Gemma Rose.
Yeah. Stephen New.
Louise Hutt.
Michael Moore.
Amanda Ratuki.
Dujon Cullingford.
Tash Allen.
Benny Marama.
Rose Masters.
Megan Rogerson Berry.
Mayoro Barton.
Patricia Gleason.
Rafaela Luna Bizano.
Tuihana Ohia.
And last but not least, Kent McPherson. We love you, Kent.
Love you, Kent. Kent's the OG.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Straight up. And it's just,
Yeah.
Go.
And everyone else that allowed those people to be in that space and allowed Maluseu and I to be in that space. Like, technically, how to... You know, Kent was one of the people that showed us how to do the thing. And then, you know, your partner, my whānau, that gave up their time with us to allow us to be there to do this kaupapa. And the same for all of our people that came and shared, you know, all of their whānau, all of their friends, all of the things that they didn't do because they were doing this. So, kia ora, we really, really just want to, like, honour each of our people from season 1, because without them, none of this would exist.
100%. And I love that you're actually awhiing and honouring the whakapapa of these people as well, because that's something that's really potent and important and significant for us, is that we actually give back to their village and their village of support and their village that allowed them the freedom to be with us and to share their wisdom with us.
For sure.
We went back and listened to each episode and literally pulled out some of our golden nuggets, and that literally was such a healing process. I don't know about if that was for you, but for me it was such a healing process to actually sit and mull in that space, because the gifts continue to really pour, and beyond season 1 episodes, into the program, we built a group program. And then on top of that, we built a review of season 1. And I think that it's so relevant that the love that they gifted us, that we share that love. And I think we were trying to figure out what different ways that could take shape. And that's something that we still have an ongoing conversation with, because it might not be a program for season 2, or it might be something completely different. But I feel like I just want to honor the fact that we actually took courageous steps in building a program. We took courageous steps in actually looking into a season 2, and not because we want to swim in a pool of narcissism, but more so of actually acknowledging that this is quite naturally a part of being courageous and doing something new. We started with the podcast, and that was something completely both out of our depths for that. And then I would also argue that even though we were out of our depths in terms of the programming world, we actually already had the skills, and we just need to give ourselves the permission to make a program, which was already there with this village of, I mean, come on, this 20. But yeah, so I'm really appreciative of this koha that they've continuously weaved, and then it's able to manifest into different ways of traversing their ways of being and their knowledge systems. But that's me. What about you? How are you feeling into this?
Yeah, I think, like, there were so many incredible, like, opportunities for learning in every conversation that we had through season 1, that I feel like it would have been a disservice to those people and their stories to just leave them as podcasts, to not offer community more from what they had gifted us without asking more of those people. Because sharing your story and spending your time is the most valuable thing that I believe that anybody can do. So how can we really honor that gift without asking more of our people? And yeah, building the program was so much fun. It was also the first time that we explored video content as well. So each part of the program had a video that went along with it, and that was another new thing for us. There was lots of new experiences for us as like curators, I guess, of these things that have presented themselves to us, and the program was really an opportunity for us to dive into these conversations and to make those gems teachable moments for people in this container that was created by community, for community, with community, and through a reflexive approach as well. So not just like, oh, here's some stuff to talk about, like real surface level. It's like it was and is, and we may run the season 1 program again, we're not sure right now. It is an opportunity to really dive in and like, what does this really look like in the context of my world, of your world, of the people that were in the program, you know. So it was really really beautiful to dive in further, and rather than just being an observer or a listener of the conversation or the podcast, it was like, what does this look like in reference to myself, in reference to the people that were in the program. So it was really beautiful. And it was so cool. It was so cool to see other people's interpretations as well, or like saw what other people got out of it. Yeah, it's really cool.
Loved. And I'm loving that, because when I feel about into the program, we wanted, like, I don't know about you, but I really wanted to take people on a journey where I wasn't teaching them, but they were teaching themselves and finding new reference points for themselves.
For sure.
With the aid of our season 1 golden nuggets. And that's why it was just so appropriate. Like, my FAQ, like the FAQ concept is really, really, really simple. What are we not wanting to talk about? How do we bring that to the front? And how do we give it radical space for it to coexist with everything that we're feeling? And the My FAQ was such a beautiful container so that we can actually explore with other people and also in community. So it was kind of like an inception of community, because we had the physical community, which was me, you, and the beautiful people in the My FAQ program. Thank you so much. We want to keep your names anonymous, because you deserve that. But we also want to give you so much love, because you have stretched my capacity to hold space and to feel into these things, and more than I could even admit, you know. So and then we had the second tier of that, which was the community of people that gifted us the knowledge systems there, and then the communities that they came from. So it was like it was 3-tiered to a point where I'm like, oh, if that's not reflexivity, I don't know what is. But that felt good, and that felt like something. And I'm glad that you mentioned about maybe potentially revisiting it, because I feel like there was something in there that we tried version 1, and I'm looking forward to what version 2 is, because
same.
It's so potent.
The program was an incredible pilot. We learnt so much from doing that. I mean, I'm definitely got ideas of what it could look like beyond the pilot. But yes, it's very much just ideas at the moment. We've got enough. We've got enough on our plate right now.
Truth be told.
Yeah. And another thing that came out of the, like, going back and listening to each of the episodes from season 1 was we created a review. So we understand, like, you know, our podcast is anywhere between 45 minutes to, I think the longest one was like an hour and 20 minutes or something. That's not always accessible for a lot of people. So a review was an opportunity for it to be shorter, like summations, I guess, of the longer episodes. And those reviews were anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes. And also video content. We did more video content in a different way as well. So that was, again, a new learning.
Thank you so much, Tony and Zeal.
Yes, Tony at Zeal, which came through one of our season 1 people, actually, through Dujon Killing Ford.
Thank you.
Yeah, more gifts. Yeah, Tony gifted us with a space at Zeal Hamilton to record all of those from. So if you are looking for a space, or young creatives that are looking for a place to call home for a while, where they can be creative and they can just be young people in a creative space, then Zeal Hamilton is definitely the place.
Your space.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, check them out. They're incredible. But yeah, the review was an opportunity for us to revisit with everybody else how Maluseu and I saw ourselves in reference to those conversations, because we recorded those review episodes in October 2021, and that was like 8 to 12 months, depending on the episode, after we had recorded. So there was a bit of time there, and we were able to go back and be like, oh, okay, yeah, my thoughts on this has changed, or this is where I see myself in reference to it now. Whereas when we were having that conversation, this is what my reference point was. So yeah, the review for me was really a beautiful space for you and I to see as a duo where we sit in response to those conversations, understanding that, you know, we're growing as people, we're growing as podcasters, quote unquote. And yeah, it's cool to be able to share, you know, the growth, and be able to say those are the conversations we had in 2019, 2020. Is that right? 19 and 20? Or 2021?
2020, 20 and 21.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I was like, we've been doing this way longer than I thought. Yeah, those are the conversations we had through 2020 and 21. And we've grown as people. Our values and beliefs have changed, and so it's kind of where we sit now. So we had the conversation of, you know, it can be a little bit daunting leaving content up from 2020, from, you know, that long ago, when our thoughts have shifted so much, and maybe we don't stand by everything that we said then, but we leave it up because we want to show the growth, and we don't want to, yeah. I think showing growth is so important, and often the content that I see online is so edited and so curated that that's not the kind of thing that I want to put on the internet. And that, I don't think, is I don't think that's the fuck you way to do stuff. To be like, oh, I don't believe that anymore, so I'm going to take it down. No, let's show people our growth. Yeah.
And that's stepping into courageous waters, because to me, I feel like it would be the most easiest thing to do to curate all of that. And I feel like what's the brave thing to do would be actually to show that. And as much as it was so uncomfortable, and even like the review really it kind of ate at me, because I can't speak for you, but I really demonized the book club to a point where I was like, and it's interesting because it's like I find myself reading the book club in my reel now. So it's like the hypocrisy in that is totally there, and I totally can see how I'm a hypocrite and all of these things. And I've grown past that, and I feel like we've we've allowed ourselves the permission to learn, and also the permission to find new reference points on how to give grace and love into spaces and places where I didn't even know it was a shadow that I was carrying for so long.
Yeah.
You know, that I normalized it and then demonized it in a way that was like, oh, actually, that, and not to say that it wasn't a genuine perspective, because it was, and it is.
At that time.
And I don't, at that time, completely, I don't deny or remove any of those things, because the mana that I put into all of those opinions and perspective was real at that time. And I'm glad that we both agreed that that was actually going to be the FAQ way, or the FAQ step forward, is to leave it up so that we can learn with people. And also, I feel like leaning on your perspective on you don't see anything. I'm like, I don't see people actually showing genuine, authentic growth or failures. It's not so much growth, but failures of being like, I completely got that wrong. And I did. And I can happily and safely within this kaupapa admit that I was wrong about a lot of things, and I'm happy to know better, and also to give myself more grace. But all in good timing, and it was the review that really got us there, or got me there to a point where I'm like, okay, get at it, lean into it.
Yeah.
But we really. The whakapapa to the review is, and in terms of reflecting on ourselves and our practice, I really appreciate that it showed me that I could be a better listener. It showed me that I could be, just holding that space as opposed to trying to fill it. And those were were important lessons, because I think we both were like, oh my God, every time we heard our voices, oh my God, get out of the way, leave, leave the room.
Yeah. Like, there were so many times when I was like, when we were listening back to the episodes, where I was like, why am I speaking? I just cut that person off. And maybe they weren't finished their thought, but I thought it was important for me to insert myself into this conversation, and I don't need to be in it. So, like, the review also gave us an opportunity to refine our practice, which I am so grateful for.
Go.
So grateful for this. Yeah, there was times when we were listening and we were both like, shut up, to ourselves.
Shanice, shut it.
Anyways,
yes, so we thank you so much to our season 1 village, and the support and afi that you have woven into our proximity, and leaning onto our whakatoki, the legacy that you've woven into what we call a whākī conversation, or what we call a whākī kaupapa, or a whākī moment. We would not be here having this moment without all of the season 1 guests, and we are so forever grateful.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I'm excited to build on that village with season 2, to add and bring in so many more beautiful humans into that village, into the whākī
40. Imagine.
I know that we do 20 a season, but I'm like, oh my gosh, that's 40 people. Math. Oh my god.
I didn't think it hit until I said it actually. 40.
Far out.
And imagine what 20 did to us, though. Imagine what 20 did to us.
Crazy.
Don't even get me started on...
Okay. We're going to go, because otherwise I'm going to have a mental breakdown.
That's the 60 for me. It's the 60 and 80 for me, where I'm like...
Season 5's going to be 100 people. Okay, let's go.
So, coming back. Season 2, episode 2. We're here. Moia te wahine o te pā harakeke. Marry the woman of the flax cultivation. Be a woman who thinks about her legacy.
This brings me to you. You are the person that I marry through this kaupapa. You are the person that is here weaving it all together with me. was actually really interesting that, someone had to tell us that, someone said to Maluseu, they're like, Kelsy's your soulmate, eh? And then Maluseu told me, and I was like, oh, yeah. That's so true.
Like, why didn't I know this before? Interesting.
So, yeah. This now brings me to you. You are the person that allows me to show up. You are the person that, we walk through this together. There is no way. I mean, the season 1 village, of course, but there is no way at all that Whāki would exist without you. And then, and all of your people in your village that you bring to this space. So I just want to take a moment to honour you. I love you. I love you.
Stop.
I love you. I love you. I love you. Yeah.
And I'm echoing all of that.
Yeah,
let me not even doubt that. Like, I'm like, yo, I'm receiving all of that love, all of that I deserve, and I'm so thankful that you're willing to gift this moment to honor me. And I echo that in highest vibrations back at you, because I don't need to say anything more than everything that you've given me. I genuinely feel that inner joy that says yes, yes, yes. And I also, it's in yes of being like, I'm vibrating all of that back at you, because yeah, I have so much fucking love for you in space and time, because from the get-go, it's like, from the get-go, on the whakapapa of our journey, like, I'm like, that's when you know someone really loves you, as someone's willing to call. I feel like before Louise gave us the whakaaro to meet our walking and our definition, you already called me in. You already called me in. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, we can uplift both at the same time.
Yeah.
Louise's whakaaro is amazing, and also you called me in before we needed the whakaaro, and that was the safety I needed as your soulmate and someone who truly loves every part of you, as opposed to the best or the worst part of you. Okay, I'm fucking in love with you, mate. Not afraid to say it out loud. And thank you also to Sarah for
letting us know.
Anyways,
welcome.
No, honestly, that sums up everything for me. I really do lean into that whakatoki, and I'm really loving that, because you are it for me. You are the connector for me. You are that safety net and I feel like people have really commented on the safety that we provide for each other and our friendship. And I'm like, and our relationship. And I'm like, actually, let me just throw all of those fancy words to the side. It's the aroha that you keep and hold for us. So thank you and your peoples.
Love you.
Hanisif to you too. And love you to everybody else. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and all of that jazz. Wait, let me exit this moment.
And review. Reviews really, really help. So like review on I think like Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and those kind of places. Reviews are what like the analytics and stuff actually look for. So if you could leave a review, a good one. We don't, 4 and 5 reviews only welcome. Thanks, fam. That would really help the podcast to really get out to more people. So if you have enjoyed, fuck you, please. That's one way that you can support the kaupapa.
Thank you so much. And yes, so episode 3 we'll be diving into what we look forward to in this season, which is really, really potent and so necessary.
Yeah. Enjoy, whānau. Bye.
The fuck you.
Fuck you!
Hey, fuck you. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Bye.
It's your fuck you. Oh shit, there's people around.
Yeah. Kakite.
And insane.